It's a video for the FiiO FH3. I'll do a longer video and also comparisons with some other stuff because this is warranting that. This is the first FiiO that I've had in a while. I mean, quite a while that I thought this is really good. Like this is going to find a home. The FH1s a long time ago, they weren't high res, but the bass was nice. It sounded good. It fit perfectly. It was this right here fits perfectly. It's a metal shell. It's got a beryllium coated driver, 10 millimeter, 2 balanced armature. Driver count doesn't equal sound quality. That Sony ARE Z1R has 3 drivers. Implementation is everything, not driver count. Is this better than some other FiiOs with more drivers? Yes, fuck yeah. I'll compare them directly. Like the FA9, do I think that this sounds better than that? Yeah. That was actually easy. The bass is absolutely gorgeous the way that they did this. This is how to do bass and not have it mess up everything else. You could still keep faithful reproduction, definition of high fidelity, part of the definition of audiophile. You can listen. Beryllium again, talked with somebody about technicalities a long time ago. Good example of the technical prowess of a beryllium driver is a benefit to the people that use it if they use it correctly. You can elevate the bass and give that live dynamic feeling without really wiping out the mids. What FiiO did here is they tuned it brilliantly. That red is sub bass, that orange is mid bass, that's all bass. And by the time it's got a beautiful glide, kick drums come in fine, 4-string bass guitars come in nice, and the mids are green. It's almost corrected by the time it gets there, and then it takes its sweet time going up from 1K, and it's got a deviation of about 8 dB at its peak for the gain. They did a really good job. I've become so used to opening up, listening, thinking something, checking it out, and thinking, okay, yeah, this is not aimed at me, that I wasn't thinking much, but I decided before I go to sleep, because I didn't see anybody else on the internet talking about this set yet. This is how this happens, yo. Stuff slides right under and boom. Like that's what this is. Nobody's talking about this. Maybe nobody's gotten it yet. This is a really good set. Let me talk about music. First thing I listened to was Marvin Gaye, of course. Sexual Healing. I'm listening to that 808 rig that's making the low frequency hits and stuff on that. Again, that curve is giving me everything I want and not taking away from his vocals. Marvin Gaye's vocals are not being interrupted by that machine that I showed you guys in a previous video, that 808 rig that's been around for about 30 years. His vocals are not overwhelming. The harmonics, the overtones are not overly emphasized. Guitar, also the same. Listening to male and female right here with great vocal range. Paradise by the Dashboard Light by Meatloaf. Very, very enjoyable. I only listened to about 10 songs today. I just went through a few of them again, trying to kind of pick it up. Sultans of Swing by Dire Straits. See if we can get down there. Dire Straits. Here we go. The guitar solo, it's fucking beautiful. I also listened to Jimi Hendrix because I wanted to listen to All Along the Watchtower, because that solo is kind of hard for a lot of stuff to do. Here's Jimi Hendrix. It's some of Jimi Hendrix. H-I-J. Okay. No, actually that's not the one. All Along the Watchtower. Here we go. Let's admire boobs for just a second. Boobs and nice audio gear. The guitar sounds good on this. The solos are... Hendrix is one of the first people. Somebody was talking about compression in a comment before. Jimi Hendrix was a great producer. If you listen to this track and if you listen to another one, I think it is the... And the Gods Made Love. Go ahead and listen to this track. That left and right panning and all that crazy shit. Jimi Hendrix did that. He was a perfectionist in the studio, and he's one of the first people to really just sit down and do his own stuff. Like, he pissed off the original members of The Experience and partly had to create Band of Gypsies for few reasons. One is because he was really difficult to work with because he had an image of what he wanted, and anything else was they'd do it again and again and again and again and again. People kind of forget that part about Hendrix. He was just a great. He had the axe and he played it well. No, he was getting into what he could do with sounds. You could see that with the guitar and in the studio. In the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they've got his deck that I think he did. This album, Electric Ladyland, I think that's the deck, the studio deck where he was doing all the stuff, all the effects, the compression. That was done not with software, that was done with hardware at that time. Filters and compressors, they did all that stuff. That wasn't invented in the 80s, for fuck's sake. So FiiO has reasonably affordable. I got to go check the price. I actually tried to, and I couldn't see it on first glimpse. This fits very good. Oh, the MMCX, like the IT00, good luck getting these out. Like, you really need a tool. All of that, MMCX is garbage. They've listened to it, and now they've made it so hard to get the cables off the IEMs. I know that's a good thing, but this is different from the IT00 because it's a metal shell, and I feel like the thing that's going to fail will be the cable. Let me see if I can get it off right now. Oh, did it? Oh, bam. Okay. It's not that big. It's pretty small. MMCX is not loose at all. It's quite... I'm going to leave it off because I might switch cable. I actually like the FiiO stock cables. They don't get wired and spidery because they're kind of stout. I might just put it back on. I'm thinking. That's a thought for another time. So the bass is brilliant on this set. The mids sound good. A lot of the chaos that happens with Jimi Hendrix stuff is usually up around here, because this is where the fundamental and harmonic crossover for vocals and guitar is very, very close, and it's very, very close to here. And when this stuff is too emphasized, stuff like Jimi Hendrix solos might become a little bit like one time only and then move to the next track. Listening repeatedly can kind of become a little bit too much for this listener. Listen to Eurythmics, Sweet Dreams also. That sounded dope. Listen to 4-string bass guitar. Violent Femmes, Please Do Not Go. Sounded fucking brilliant. This is the FiiO, since they started doing Beryllium, that I was always imagining was coming out. This is the one. I thought this was going to be the first time they used Beryllium, and then they were doing massive V's, like a compensation elevation in the treble. I assume? I don't know. I just saw... That's a Unique Melody MEST over there, and I saw online because mine looked different from it, and they've got a unique to Japan one, which scares me because that means the image that Japan has a different desired tuning, and I know that that's treble, so I got to graph that set. I think companies maybe should tell people the different regions are tuned different, or it's not. I'll figure that out. So a full review for the bass is absolutely fantastic. The mids on what I'm listening to don't sound. Dire Straits, Sultans of Swing, Fleetwood Mac, Go Your Own Way, 2 male, 2 female vocals sound good. They sound proper. Aerosmith, No More, No More. The Simple Strike actually sounded fantastic. Aerosmith, Toys in the Attic. First track. Not first track. No More, No More, 7th track. Simple Strike is brilliant. And just for the hell of it, Big Boy, Kill Jill. Boom. Boom. Without getting in the way. And also the Japanese female singer that does the intro to the song is not over the top to this listener. It's perfect. They did a really good job. And people are going to come and say, can you compare to the L3? And yeah, that's coming up. They did real good. Surprised. I'm going to do 2 more videos. One is a comparison probably with the L3 and something else, and then like a full review where I'll break it down by bass, mids, and treble. I just wanted to give a heads up that this is actually a really good set. What was I going to say? Forgot. I'll post this video and watch it, remember it, and fucking fuck it. Okay. Oh, FiiO has been sending me stuff for a few years. And there's a lot of stuff that I wasn't a fan of. Like every earphone that followed the FH1, I didn't really enthusiastically jump on. Like almost every single one. The DAPs, I'm a M11 Pro fan. That got squeezed between the M11 and the M15, I thought was a tragedy. I love the amp on that. It's so black, dark. That is such a fantastic DAP. That, the Q1 Mark II, the FH1, and some older stuff I'm big fans of, but a lot of the recent stuff I haven't. And they don't penalize, obviously, because I got it about as fast as anybody on the internet. They just don't play that game, like the denial of service when you don't give the... There's people always ask me, why don't you have, a Hibby? Why don't you have something that you had before and you got it early? Because I did the same thing to Hibby that I did to FiiO. If I didn't like it, I said it. If I thought something was not good, like the release schedule, which I dinged Hibby because they were saying they weren't going to send out the R3s because they couldn't get the covers, and then I said, that's your problem. You source the covers, send the R3, and then you pay for the postage for the covers. Like, people want music players, and they updated under that video on my channel, Joe Blogs. We're sending them out, and I knew that moment I'm never gonna get contacted about Hibby again. Forget about all the dramas that have followed along with me. Before that ever happened, I was persona non grata, and that's not strange. That's how this hobby works. FiiO is an exception to an almost rule. They don't care. They know some people will like it, some people won't, some people will be meh about it, and they just keep doing it. So I gotta say thank you to them. I appreciate it, because I haven't been friendly to them all the time, but that's the way it's supposed to be. And I can say clearly, they did a good job. I'm looking forward to doing the full review, and I'm out.
Selling my name to be precise, ripping mics